Hare Krishna. Can you allow me to share the screen? Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept our humble
Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. I hope you are able to see the screen. So let's chant the invocation prayer and we'll start. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so let us get into the next verse. Before that, I wanted to give an example for the question yesterday. I think some 2-3 devotees asked regarding how material nature can be eternal, and how Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Of course, I said the byproduct of material nature is material world. But Prabhupada gives an example in the 3rd canto Bhagavatam. Please note carefully that a creation, the manifested creation and the unmanifested creation, it is like an active wife and a sleeping wife. When the creation is created, then it is compared to an active wife. She's active, she's actively doing so many things. When the creation is unmanifested, it is compared to a sleeping wife. A sleeping wife doesn't mean there is no wife. So I hope this example of Srila Prabhupada gives you a clear understanding regarding the material nature. So is it okay? Daya, you also had, in Harshika, Vishaka, you had a question, right? The same question? Someone had this question. Yes, is it Harshika and Vishaka? Yes, Daya?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Harshika and Vishaka, are you clear?
Mataji, can you please repeat the example? I didn't hear it.
Active wife and a sleeping wife. When the creation is manifested, it is like an active wife. She is actively doing so many things. When the wife is sleeping, the sleeping wife when the creation in the unmanifested stage. The sleeping wife doesn't mean there is no wife. Is it clear? This is what Prabhupada is comparing material nature to active wife and sleeping wife. So is this example clear for you?
Yes, yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Daya, you had a question?
Yes, Mataji, I have question from verse 13. Yesterday we discussed
Yes.
I am not getting the, like it is written, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. In this word, we are talking about Jiva. So like,
Yes. In this verse, it is talking about Jiva. Yes.
I'm not getting this line, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world, because Jiva is affected by material world.
No, this is Krishna is talking about beginning of the creation, because Krishna is actually the reason for the cause and effect. But the Jiva is lying beyond this cause and effect. That's very simple, straightforward. Jiva has nothing to do with the cause and effect. This is about creation. Right? Jiva has nothing to do with the creation. Only the Supreme Lord is the reason for the cause and effect. It just makes a statement that the Jiva is beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Jiva gets affected because he is actually thinking that he is the body, and he, because of his rebelling mentality, we discussed yesterday, that he actually comes into the grip of the three modes of material nature. So is it clear for you now? Jiva has nothing to do with the cause and effect.
In regard of creation.
In regard of creation, what a Jiva can do? Jiva can do nothing.
Okay.
It is actually, it is the function of the Supreme Lord. The Jiva can do only one thing, that is desire. Accordingly, the Supreme Lord's mercy, one gets a different kinds of body. Of course, it is a gift by the material nature. Of course, the material nature is working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. So the cause and effect has nothing to do with the Jiva in this present verse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it is like this. I'll just give an example. We are like a prisoners. You might have heard this example. Those who are in the material world are compared to prisoners. Have you heard about it?
Yes.
Okay. So we actually are the secondary creator in creating the prison. How? We are not literally creating. Because of our desire, the creation of the material world took place. In that sense, we are the secondary creator of the material world, but we can't create, we can't literally create. It's actually the glance of the Supreme Lord. So is it clear now with this example?
Yes, Mataji.
So we are the secondary creator, but doesn't mean that we are involved in the creation. We don't have any role in that. Just because of we desired, Krishna has to create the material world. In that sense, we are secondary creator because we were the reason for the creation of the material. So I hope with this example, it's clear for you.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so the sleeping wife and active wife, is it clear for all the devotees? Yesterday, I think 3 devotees had the question regarding material nature. I think Pandit Prabhu, you also had the same question.
Yes, Mataji, all clear. Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. So we have to move to text number 20. Just a minute. Yes, Jyoti, we will do at least one verse. Yes,
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my
Hare
humble-
Krishna.
Actually, I wanted to ask, like when we say this Upanishad style of writing, so what do we exactly understand by Upanishad?
Yeah, I understand. So in the earlier verses, if you see, especially 7 to 12 chapter and Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, so many verses, Krishna is actually referring to himself. Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam. Mam directly is referring to himself. Right? So same way, aham sarvasya prabhavo, aham bija pradapita. Of course, that is coming in the next section. But especially this 13th chapter, it's not referring to some person. That's why I said it is in Upanishadic style. Of course, Acharyas have told that this is in Upanishadic style. If you see, if you actually, I don't know whether you have done Ishopanishad or it is yet to be started.
Yet to be started.
Not done.
Okay. So then you can see that there also, unless we have a Bhaktivedanta purports, we cannot actually understand because it's exactly open. There is no reference of like me, like mine, I am, nothing like that. If you see in the 10th chapter, the 7th chapter, it is like clear that, no, he says, mama, this what mama vartmanu vartanti. No, I'm not getting the verse like Abrahma bhuvana loko punaravartino arjuna mam upetet kaunteya. So they again mam upetet kaunteya, right? So the reference of mom, I am, me, mine. So all these things are very clear in the earlier until 12th chapter. So there is no proper reference like this. That's why it is said in Upanishadic style.
Thank you.
So I hope it is clear, right? It's
Yes.
like general. So it's like a difficult Sanskrit terms. Yes, I hope you are clear.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Thank you.
So next we will move to text number 21. Yesterday we discussed till 20 that how material nature and the living entity both are actually beginningless. And what undergoes transformation? Only the material nature undergoes transformation. For the living entity, there is no, like as such, the body undergoes transformation, but the jiva does not undergo any transformation. So next verse, we will continue. Text number 21. Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakriti ruchyate purusha sukha dukkana bhoktrutve hetu ruchyate. So yes, who is going to read the translation?
And we have the reading sequence, Mother.
Yeah, so they know that reading sequence, right?
Yes, Mataji, it's my turn.
Okay, please, Daya.
Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of all the various suffering and enjoyment in this world.
Okay. So again, here we are talking about the causes and effect. So again, it is related to creation of the material world. So the material world is the reason, that's what Krishna says, is the cause of all material causes and effect. Again, Jiva is responsible for his own suffering and enjoyment. I think you might have done in your 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, who is the reason for the suffering? Who is the reason for the suffering? Jiva?
Our jiva, our desires,
Okay, desires. Basically, desires of the
jiva.
Jiva. It's not the Supreme Lord. It's not the material nature. Right? We say the responsible cause. Who is the responsible cause in 3? That is the Supreme Lord, material nature, and Jiva. Who is the responsible cause? Among the 3, who is the responsible cause? Yeah, I didn't hear.
Jiva.
Jiva. Okay. So who is the immediate cause in the 3?
Material nature.
Material nature. Who is the super cause? Of course, we have only one. That's the
Krishna Bhagwan.
Krishna. Yeah.
Krishna.
So that is what Krishna is again insisting. Whereas the Jiva, so nature is said to be the, like, of course, creation is created, material causes and effect, right? Then again, Krishna is saying that living entity, the Jiva, is the reason for his own suffering and enjoyment in this material world. So in regarding to this, I'd like to request devotees read from now the sum total from here until the end of the purport, because it will be very clear. Because why I said like just read, because the material nature is actually because of the jiva's desire is putting us into a certain condition that we will not be able to escape from that situation. Like, for example, a jiva is put into the body of a dog. The same example Prabhupada gives, that whatever is the dog's lifestyle, the jiva has to go through within the dog's body. It cannot change. Same way, if the jiva is put in the body of a hog, that also Prabhupada gives the example. So whatever lifestyle is there in the body of a hog, the jiva has to go through helplessly. So yes, please continue. Yes, please continue. We highlighted Daya.
Now, the sum total body and instrument senses is offered by material nature. And as will be clear in the next verse, the living entity is blessed or damned with circumstances according to his past desire and activities.
Yeah, just here, the total body, because body is a product of 24 elements. Of course, senses also include all the work we discussed day before yesterday, that Mahabhutani Ahankaro. In that verse, Krishna is actually explaining how the body is constituted. So this is given by the material nature, right? And then the living entity is blessed or punished with different circumstances according to our past desire and our past activities in whichever lives. So according to our desires and activities, material nature puts us in different kinds of a body. Yeah, please continue. It will be very clear. Please continue with the purport.
According to one's desire and activities, material nature places one in various residential quarters. The being himself is the cause of his attending such residential quarters and his attendant enjoyment or suffering. Once placed in some particular kind of body, he comes under the control of nature, because the body, being matter, acts according to the laws of nature. At that time, the living entity has no power to change that law. Suppose an entity...
Change that law.
Suppose an entity is put into the body of a dog. As soon as he put into the body of a dog, he must act like a dog. He cannot act otherwise. And if the living entity is put into the body of a hog, then he is forced to eat stools and act like a hog. Similarly, if the living entity is put into
the body of a demigod,
he must act according to his body. This is the law of nature, but in all circumstances, the super soul is with the individual soul. That is explained in the Vedas, Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.1 as follows: Dva Suparna
Sayuja Sakhayaha.
The Supreme Lord is so kind upon the living entity that he always accompanies the individual soul and in all circumstances is present as the super soul or Paramatma.
Okay, so the material nature is only offering us the body. That's why in the translation it is said, nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effect. Regarding the material nature is said to be the cause. But regarding the living entity's different body, acquiring different body, the material nature is not the cause. Supreme Lord is not the cause. That is why I brought this topic of responsible cause, immediate cause, and super cause. Because we are responsible, but we don't have a facility to enjoy or to get punished or to go through suffering. So for that, we need material nature, which is working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Of course, everything is working under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. That's what Krishna says in 9th chapter regarding how the material nature functions. Does anyone remember the verse from 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita? How the material nature works? Who remembers that verse? Yes, Rukmini Hari Sevini Devi Dasi.
Mayadhikshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam.
Yes. Hetunane kaunte jagat vipari vartate. Yeah, thank you. Mayadhikshena prakriti. It is my energy, Mayad Akshena, under my supervision. Mayad Akshena Prakritihi. That it cannot function on its own, but it's working under my supervision. So according to one say, we get different. That's why Prabhupada is writing. In fact, for body, it's referring to a word. What word Prabhupada is using in English? Regarding one gets a body according to one's desire and activities. If we closely look at the purport. Instead of body, what word Prabhupada uses here?
Residential quarter.
Residential quarters. Yeah, thank you. So because we are the reason to get whatever kind of body, but again, what Prabhupada is saying here is that we cannot escape from the situation what we have been put into by our own desire. But anyway, one more point Prabhupada adds that the Supreme Lord is so merciful. If you read the Sanskrit term Sakhayaha, that the Supreme Lord is accompanying us as Paramatma in whatever body the living entity accepts. So how this happened, that's we are going to see in the next verse. Why actually the living entity is what is the reason for the living entity to get bound in this material world? Yes, Pandit Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my most humble obeisances. So Mataji, here it's been mentioned that he must act as per the body, one must act as per the body one receives.
Yes.
Right. So how we can understand this context in terms of Bharat Maharaj, Mataji? Because when he's in the body of a deer, he tend to act as a deer, but he's more inclined to do or eat only prashadam or do some sadhu sang here, there, kirtan and all.
I mean,
so how we can understand that?
Bharat Maharaj is like beyond. Actually, the pastime of Bharat Maharaj is two reasons. One is Krishna wanted to teach that a person who is in the level of bhava also can fall down. That's one thing. Okay. Then the other thing is Bharat Maharaj did not have any association. That's the second thing. And then the third thing for our own practice of Krishna consciousness is we should know where compassion should be applied. What Bharat Maharaj showed was material compassion. Material compassion actually binds us. Material compassion is a sign of ignorance. Okay, he could have just saved the deer for a moment and then he could have carried on with his sadhana. But material compassion, what it did, that's also lesson. Prabhupada, in fact, mentions this clearly in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the first verse, very first verse. The very first line, the purport is, material compassion, tears and lamentation are all the signs of the ignorance. So we should know where to apply compassion. That's one more lesson we learned from Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj, he remembers because he's a person in, so he remembers his past life. So we cannot compare Bharat Maharaj becoming a stag and remembers his past life to, according to the laws of nature, a living entity's life. So I hope it is clear for you, Pandit Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Okay, we have two hands. Who are they? Vaibhavi, yes.
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Mataji, could you please enlighten me with the two terms, material compassion and spiritual compassion?
So compassion should be shown. The same purport Prabhupada is given. Material compassion means what? Can someone remember the analogy? Very famous analogy. Material compassion means what? The same. Yes, Rukmini Hari Sevini.
Cloth.
Yeah, you are close to it. Cloth represents what?
Saving the body means
saving the body. Saving the dress of a drowning man.
Yes.
So a man is drowning, but I'm saving the clothes. That means saving the body. Saving the body is material compassion. Because one may save the body, but what is the guarantee that he will not suffer later? The jiva will not suffer in the next life. How long we are going to save? So a spiritual compassion means compassion for the soul. Giving Krishna conscious to the jiva. Actually, that is like the real proper, I mean, of course, everyone says that the real philanthropic activity is not saving the body, saving the soul. So is it clear, Vaibhavi?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yes, Krishna Priya.
Pranam Mataji. You mentioned three kinds of causes: responsible cause,
Yes.
immediate cause, and third
Yes.
one I don't remember.
Supercast. Supercast is the Supreme Lord. Without supercast, nothing can work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So we have to be careful even within devotion, within devotees. We should know where to apply compassion. So for that, we need to take guidance from our senior devotees. Means association again. Okay, so now we go to the next verse. Please make a note. This text number 22 is a link for the next chapter, which is chapter 14. Please write down. Text number 22 is the link for the next chapter 14, three modes of material nature. Okay, so text number 22. Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasat yoni janmasu. I think it's one of your memorization words.
No.
Yeah, so next person, please read.
Translation. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species.
So what happens? The living entity, due to its desire, he follows the ways of life. He enjoys and suffers due to the three modes of material nature. That's the first statement. This is due to his association with that material nature. Because we rebelled against the Lord, automatically we came under the grip of material nature, which functions through the three modes of material nature. And that's how sometimes when we are in mode of goodness, predominantly when we are in mode of goodness, we are enjoying in good species, some good thing in species, in different kinds of species. When our mode, especially the mode of ignorance is predominant, then evil among various species. That's how the jiva sometimes goes up, sometimes comes down, according to the pushings of the three modes of material nature. Is it clear? That's how the jiva meets good and evil, and that's how he gets different bodies also, according to the pushings of the three modes of material nature. So yes, this is the link for the next chapter. Yes, please continue with the purport.
This verse is very important for an understanding of how the living entities transmigrate from one body to another.
Please continue.
How he is put into such different bodies is explained here. It is due to association with the different modes of nature. One has to rise, therefore, above the three material modes and become situated in the transcendental position. That is called Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, continue the non-highlighted part also, unless one is situated in Krishna.
Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another, because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change can be affected only by hearing from authoritative sources. The best example is here. Arjuna is hearing the signs of God from Krishna. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, will lose his long cherished desire to dominate material nature, and gradually and proportionately, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. In a Vedic mantra, it is said that as he becomes learned in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he proportionately relishes his eternal blissful life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So from your study from the previous chapters, how to overcome the three modes, please raise your hand. How to overcome the three modes? Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
By surrendering unto the Lord.
What is the verse?
Devi hi esha gunamayi.
Yeah.
Maya duratyaya. Mame vaye
Mame.
prapadite maya metam tarantite.
Okay. So according to this verse, according to the pushings of the three modes of material nature, we are put into different species, sometime higher, sometime lower, sometime demigod, sometime dog, sometime animal, whatever, elephant, whatever, snake, whatever, sometime human. So we have been going on this cycle. So what Prabhupada is saying, one has to raise therefore. It's a general instruction for everyone, whoever reads this book. This is what Prabhupada expects us to raise. Whoever reads this book, this is what Prabhupada wants us. That we have to rise above the three modes of material nature and become situated in the transcendental, which that will happen only by our Krishna consciousness. If you are not Krishna consciousness, this journey will go on and on and on and on. That is what Prabhupada is saying here. And this can be affected. Again, the solution is given here, which I have highlighted in yellow. That change can be affected only by hearing from authoritative sources. So please write down the 13th chapter. We started with the problem, right? We have these questions. And what is the solution? The solution given in 13th chapter itself is, we are having the purport. Even in the one of the verse, Krishna will say that hearing. We have to hear from authoritative sources. That is the solution. By hearing from authoritative sources, we will understand that we have to overcome the three modes. First we have to come to which mode? First, we have to come to which mode?
Mode of goodness.
Mode of goodness. So Krishna conscious lifestyle itself is in mode of goodness. Rising early, honoring only Prashadam, like reading scriptures, avoiding, one more thing. What is the significance of following four regulative principles? Why we need to follow? Yes, Rukmini Hari Sevini.
Shaucham, tapasya, truthfulness.
Okay. Cleanliness.
Cleanliness.
Okay, these four are considered to be what?
Four pillars.
These four. Okay, four pillars. Okay. Apart from that, what is the reason for following the four regulative principles? Okay, we have to, these are four pillars of religion. Okay, apart from that, yes, I see three hands raised. Okay, let me see. Yes, Jyoti.
It helps us to come into the platform of mode of goodness. First thing.
Okay, very good. Okay. So it is help us to come to mode of goodness means what?
It means that we will be having many anarthas and like attraction towards various other types of like ignorance and passion. But it will help us to overcome those things and follow one strict procedure in the mode of which will be there in the mode of goodness. And also,
okay, good to some extent, but I want the actual reason. Okay, Vaibhavi. To some extent, you have touched. Yes.
Mataji, as far as I remember, Prabhupada used to say purity is the force. So it
Okay.
helps one to develop mode of goodness by which he can attract the blessings of devotees, through which he can come to the stage of mode of goodness, and then gradually he'll perform the devotional practices. So I believe this is as per me.
Okay. Okay. So anyone one more? 1, 2, 3. Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, if we follow these 4 principles, then we will not commit sin. And if we are not committing sin, then it is a chance that we can get into the devotional service.
Yes, thank you so much. So these 4 regulative principles actually we are following exactly. And just to add on to whatever point you said, Prabhu, of course, Jyoti's point, Vaibhavi point we have taken up, but exact reason, just to add on Shubham Prabhu's point, we are actually escaping from grossly committing sins by following the 4 regulative principles. And also you touched the point that while committing sinful activities, we cannot progress in devotional service. The reason why we are following the 4 regulative principles is that to escape from gross material sins. Of course, avoiding sinful activity itself is mode of goodness. That Jyoti also said, Vaibhavi also said. Thank you. And thank you all. That the main reason is to escape from gross sins, so that we will progress in devotional service. So our lifestyle is in mode of goodness. What devotees have to change in one's own individual life is the thought process have to be changed. We have changed our lifestyle, but we have not changed the thought process. We are actually copying the material world. Whatever in the material world is considered to be great, we are actually keeping that as a role model or whatever we want to achieve like that. At the same time, we want to maintain a Krishna conscious lifestyle. It doesn't go well together. We need to think according to the scriptures. We need to think according to what Prabhupada says in the purport. Then only we can fully come to the mode of goodness. Okay, that's something wanted to share. So hearing process is the solution. The next, apart from this person, now Krishna spoke in 2 verses about the living entity. Apart from the living entity, there is one more person. Who is that person? That is Paramatma. That's what Krishna is saying in text number 23. It's also your memorization verse. Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha parah. Yes, translation.
Yet in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul.
So what kind of enjoyer is the Supreme Lord?
He's
Transcendental enjoyer.
What does it mean by transcendental enjoyer?
He's above the 3 modes of material nature.
He's above the 3 modes of material nature. So that's also a different from the actually the living entity goes through different meets good and evil among various species due to the pushings of the 3 modes of material nature. Here it is clearly mentioned that he is transcendental, is beyond the 3 modes, overseer and permitter. So here comes an important point. I think on the first day I told Krishna Priya Mataji that I will say, as long as we don't take up devotional service, Krishna just exists as the overseer and permitter for whatever action we perform. When the moment we take up devotional service, to the proportion to my surrender, Krishna will guide me within the heart. Of course, Krishna will start guide me through the external manifested spiritual master. That's how Paramatma guides. As long as we don't take up devotional service, Krishna is just neutral. He just oversees and permits to whatever activities we do. Please continue. So, yeah. Please continue. Yeah. The individual is Bhukta.
The individual is Bhukta or the sustained, and the Lord is the Bhukta or the maintainer. There are innumerable living entities, and he is staying in them as a friend.
Continue.
As long as he is conditioned by the material energy, the Supreme Lord, as his friend, the super soul, stays with him just to get him to return to the spiritual energy. The Lord is always eager to take him back to the spiritual energy, but due to his minute independence, the individual entity is continually rejecting the association of spiritual light.
Yeah, continue.
From without, he gives instructions as stated in Bhagavad Gita, and from within, he tries to convince the living entity that his activities in the material field are not conducive to real happiness.
So it's waiting. What is the analogy in the second chapter we saw regarding the Jiva and the Paramatma? Does anyone remember? Prabhupada quotes from one of the Upanishads.
Two birds sitting on a tree.
Yes. So yeah, please continue. Two birds sitting on the tree, and what are the two birds are doing?
One is continuously desiring and fulfilling, and other is assessing. That is super soul is helping, and the jiva is desiring.
Yeah. No, there is one more. There is one more to it.
One bird is eating the fruits of the tree, enjoying the fruits.
And the other bird is actually the other bird is doing?
Waiting for him to
It is observing. It is
No, observing it's fine. Yeah, someone told the right thing.
The other bird is witnessing the other bird who is eating the fruits of or enjoying the fruits.
Okay, that's fine. One more. Somebody said the right answer.
The bird is waiting to see, like, to watch that bird.
Yeah, waiting. Paramatma is waiting when this bird will actually turn towards me. That is what this in this verse it is read. The Lord is always eager to take him back to the spiritual energy, but due to the minute independence, because of our free will, we are suffering. This misuse is the cause of our suffering in the material world. Of course, the Lord, therefore, giving instruction from within and without. Of course, He gives instruction through scriptures. He sends spiritual ambassadors. So many things to help the living in. Okay. So the next 24. Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, here it is mentioning that the individual entity is continually rejecting the association of spiritual light. So is this Brahm Jyoti the Prabhupada is referring to?
No, spiritual light, not referring to spiritual enlightenment, Prabhu. We say the famous this saying, right? Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya. What is Jyoti? Light means coming to light, means coming to dark, coming to the light.
The knowledge.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya, right? Coming from Tamasa means coming from ignorance, you come to the light. So clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, next verse. Yevam vetti purusham prakritim cha gunai saha sarvata vartamanopi nasa bhuyo bhijayate.
One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the moods of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position.
Okay, result of knowing this knowledge. That is what Krishna first says. That whoever knows this philosophy regarding material nature, that is Prakriti, Jiva as a tiny enjoyer, the Lord as a supreme enjoyer, and how, because actually I am doing so many things because of the pushings of the three modes of material nature. If one understands clearly, obviously he tried to come out of the three modes of material nature. That's why Krishna is saying, one who knows this is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth again in this material world. So result of knowing this knowledge. Yeah, please continue. Please continue the purport.
By his personal endeavor in association with authorities, saintly persons, and a spiritual master, he has to understand his position and then revert to spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness by understanding Bhagavad Gita as it is explained by The personality of Godhead.
So what do you remember? Association with authority, saintly person, and spiritual master. We should associate with these and know our position and try to become gradually Krishna conscious. First becoming conscious and then becoming Krishna consciousness. What do you remember by this, the first sentence? Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, there is a shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvadi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya.
Okay. Yes, Rukmini Hari Sevini.
Guru Sadhu Shastra.
Guru Sadhu and Shastra. Thank you. Guru Sadhu and Shastra. We should take the good association from Guru Sadhu and Shastra. Okay. So next 24, I made it clear that whoever knows this knowledge, they can attain liberation. Result of knowing this knowledge, Krishna said. 25, who are all trying to understand the super soul in what all ways? Who are all trying to understand the super soul in what are the different ways? In what are all ways? That Krishna is going to explain. Please note, you already know this. ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे.
Translation. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, other through cultivation of knowledge, and still other through working without fruitive desires.
Okay. So some try to understand the super soul through meditation means
Dhyan Yoga.
Dhyana Yoga. Okay. Through cultivation of knowledge means
Jnana Yoga.
working without fruitive desires.
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. Simple. So these three are also trying to pursue the super soul through these three ways. Yeah, please continue the highlight part, Prabhu.
But there are others who are faithful in their understanding of spiritual life, and there are called introspective devotees, philosophers, and workers who have renounced fruitive results.
So Prabhu just reiterating the same point that there are others. Who are they? There are introspective devotees. They try to introspect themselves. Same point, Prabhu said. Jnanis, philosophers. Workers means the karmis. They are also trying to pursue the super soul. Yeah, please read, Prabhu.
Of course, there are those who try to understand the supreme absolute truth by cultivation of knowledge, and they can be counted in the class of faithful. The Sankhya philosophy analyzes this material world into 24 elements, and they place the individual soul as the 25th item. When they are able to understand the nature of the individual soul to be transcendental to the material elements, they are able to understand also that above the individual soul there is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the 26th element. Thus, gradually, they also come to the standard of devotional service in Krishna consciousness.
How the Jnanis come to the path of devotional service. That's what Prabhupada is explained. Because Sankhya, the word Sankhya itself means analyze and study. They actually analyze and mental speculate and come to an understanding that beyond these 24 elements, there is a 25th element, which is Jiva. And still they continue the process. Then they understand that beyond this individual soul, there is the Supreme Lord, which is the 26th element. When they understand this way, they come to Krishna consciousness. Sometimes they get stuck with 25th element. They don't go, they are not able to understand the super soul beyond the individual soul. So that is called as atheistic Sankhya. Prabhupada writes about atheistic Sankhya in chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. This Sankhya, see again, the Sankhya philosophy, atheistic Sankhya is also there, theistic Sankhya. How in theistic Sankhya, how they come and understand the 26th element and they take up Krishna consciousness. That's what Prabhupada explains. Okay. So three ways they can try to perceive the super soul. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. So in the next verse, Krishna is going to speak about the devotees. Apart from these three, Anyecha. there are others also. Who are they? They are devotees. That anye refers to other, refers to devotees. Anye tvayevam ajanantah shrutvan yebhya upasate tepi chati tarantyeva mrityum shruti parayana. Yes.
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
So as I said, in the words itself, Krishna is speaking about the process of hearing from authorities. When they hear from authority, they understand about Krishna consciousness and that they transcend the path of birth and death. Please continue. Others, again, there are those, means they are not karma yogis, jnana yogis and dhyana yogis, they are devotees. Yeah, please continue.
This verse is particularly applicable to modern society because in modern society there is a particularly no education.
There is practically no education.
Practically no education in spiritual matters.
Yeah, please continue from this hearing process.
This hearing process is very important. Lord Chaitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress, especially according to Lord Chaitanya. If he hears the transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized soul and gradually become able to understand everything.
So all men refers to, does not refer to any sectarian. All men refers to, that we can understand the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. That his mood of compassion, and he says that this is what his expectation, this is what his mission and vision, that all men taking advantage of hearing from realized soul. That Krishna conscious is non-sectarian, not only for this set of people. It's common for whoever gets this book, whoever gets this Bhagavad Gita, when they read this line, it is actually applicable for them. Yeah, please continue.
The worship of the Supreme Lord will then undoubtedly take place. Lord Chaitanya has said that in this age, no one needs to change his position, but one should give up the endeavor to understand the absolute truth by speculative reasoning. One should learn to become the servant of those who are in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. If one is fortunate enough to take shelter of a pure devotee, hear from him about self-realization and follow in his footsteps, one will be gradually elevated to the position of a pure devotee.
Thank you. So again, what Prabhupada is actually not encouraging, speculative reasoning. We should not speculate. We should hear from authorities. Learn the Supreme Lord servant. We need to serve the servant of the Supreme Lord. And in fact, this verse is this purport. If one is fortunate, actually we are the fortunate. We have taken shelter of a pure devotee who is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and who is a Uttamadhikari, Mahabhagavata. We are hearing from him. When we are reading, we are hearing from him. Of course, we are supposed to listen to his lectures. That's the essential foundation of our Krishna consciousness. So I'm going to touch the topic on hearing. Hear from him about spirituality. Like we are that fortunate. Prabhupada is saying if one is fortunate, so we are that fortunate souls. We have taken shelter of a pure devotee who is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are hearing from him about spiritual realization, following his footsteps, which is the instruction which he has given in his Bhaktivedanta purports. When we firmly follow his footsteps, we will be gradually elevated to the position of a pure devotee. Again, the point here is, in the Bhaktivedanta purports, we should not neglect what it is not comfortable for me. So we cannot neglect. We have to take it as a package. Okay, I am not in a position to follow now, but what Prabhupada is saying is true. At least one should have that conviction, which is very, very important. Okay, so practically applying or accepting the statements which is given by Prabhupada in the purport. That is essential. Then we come to hearing. At the end of this chapter, I'll speak on hearing, further on here. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna samyoga tadvidhi bharatarshabha. Please read.
O chief of the Bhartas, know that whatever you see in the existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of field of activities and the knower of the field.
Within moving and non-moving. So plants are non-moving, let's say. What is the field for the plant?
Annamaya.
No. What is the field for the plant?
Soul.
Yeah, Annamaya as example is a plant. I understand it. But I'm asking, what is the field of activity?
Plant body.
Plant body. Exactly. Who is the knower of the field within the plant body?
Soul.
The
Soul, which actually accepted the body of a plant. So within non-moving and within moving, if we are moving, dog is moving, elephant is moving, the snail is moving. Now in Mayapur, it's nicely raining. So many earthworms come out of the sand actually. So that's moving. So it's a combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So is this verse clear? Okay, please continue.
Without the touch of superior nature, the living entity nothing can grow. The relationship between material nature and spiritual nature is eternally going on, and this combination is effected by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is the controller of both the superior and inferior natures.
Yeah, here comes. So Daya, I just wanted to note it down. I wanted you to note it down. Here, because it's stated the relationship between material nature and spiritual nature. Material nature is the body given by the material nature. Spiritual nature is the spirit soul, which actually accepts different body given by the material nature. And the combination, we are not the cause and effect. It is actually affected by the Supreme Lord. Again, this creation. This combination is able to function due to the effect of the Supreme Lord. So that's what is the cause and effect. We discussed that in that particular verse also, which you wanted to ask, that the jiva lies beyond the cause and effect. So is it clear for you, Daya? Suddenly she vanished. Yeah. So text 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu avinashyantam yaha pashyati sa pashyati. Who can see? So in the next two verses we will see pashyati. Who can see? Yeah, please continue.
Translation: one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees.
Yeah. The super soul is accompanying all the living entities in whichever form. And what one have to understand, that neither the jiva can be killed, neither the super soul can be killed, but only the body can be killed. So this person can actually cease. Yaha pashyati sa pashyati. Simple and straightforward translation. Yes, please continue.
The Sanskrit word Parameshwara is sometimes translated as the individual soul because the soul is the master of the body, and after the destruction of the body, he transferred to another form. In the way he is master, but there are
In
other.
that way he is. In that way, he is master.
In that way, he is master, but there are others who interpret this Parmeshwara to be the super soul. In either case, both the super soul and the individual soul continue. They are not destroyed. One who can see in this way can actually see what is happening.
What is happening? So simple, straightforward translation and purport. Just Prabhupada is making a point. Parameshwara, sometimes refer to the individual soul, sometimes refer to the super soul. But in any case, both are not destroyed. That's the point. Because in the Sanskrit text, Krishna is using the word Tishtantam Parameshwara. Here he is referring to the super soul. Both are not destroyed. Okay, text number 29. Again, seeing only. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavashtitam ishwaram na hinasti atmanatmanam tato yati param gatim.
One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination.
Yeah. So here the function of the mind comes. What happens? We have to see the super soul present everywhere, equally present in all living beings. So one is able to see that because generally what happens, the mind, sometimes due to the enjoying tendency of the mind actually cheats us. So that's why Krishna is saying that we should not degrade oneself by our own mind. If we don't degrade, then we are gradually moving towards transcendental destination. Yeah, please read the purport. It will be very clear. Because the mind is actually the cheating agent. Many times people say that my mind says so, I did. My mind says so, that's why I did. So what do you think about it with this kind of statement? My mind says so, so I am doing it. Yes, Hari Sevini, please raise your hand and contribute.
Mother, I understand by this that I am a soul. My mind is different from me. I am not supposed to hear my mind. I have my intelligence, but somehow I'm relating myself with the mind, and whatever mind is speaking to me, saying to me, giving me, thinking what are thoughts I'm getting, and I'm just moving with my mind just in the flow.
Okay, thank you. Should we do, or should we follow the mind, or should not follow the mind?
Till the time, shall I raise that? Sorry.
Yes, Rukmini, yes.
So till the time, till the time I'm not my mind has not become favorable, and he's to the Krishna conscious activities. Till that time, I should not hear my mind. After that, yes, once it becomes different.
Okay, I think Jyoti raised her hand. Jyoti, you wanted to say something.
Yes, Mataji. Like until and unless we know ourselves that our soul and our mind is different, they work differently. Until that time, what we think, actually, what we understand, we think that is only our whole thing. Is our soul is also thinking that thing. But once when we understand, come to the platform that our mind is different, that is one understanding, and actually our soul is different. So then we start assessing that, okay, whether our mind is thinking that is correct and whether it should be followed or not.
Okay. Partially right and partially like it even from in the second chapter itself, we should have this understanding. Because in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna first said, we are not the body. If you are not the body, we are not the... We are not the what?
Mind as well.
Mind as well.
Mind as well.
We are not the gross body. We are not the subtle body. We are the spirit soul. These two are only coverings. If you are not the gross body, we are not the subtle body also. So we need to see even negative thought, whatever comes which is not conducive for our Krishna conscious, which is actually for our sense gratification, sometimes hatred, whatever it is, it comes in the mind. The mind, that's how it cheats us, and we also go behind the thoughts. So we need to actually introspect and understand, yes, this is my mind thought. I am not my mind. For that, we need to constantly associate with a right kind of association, and with always in touch with scriptures. Very important. Yeah, please continue this purport.
The living entity, by accepting his material existence, has become situated differently than his spiritual existence. But if one understands that the Supreme is situated in his Paramatma manifestation everywhere, that is, if one can see the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living thing, he does not degrade himself by a destructive mentality, and he therefore gradually advances to the spiritual world.
Yeah,
The
very
mind is
important
generally
point. Seeing in everyone's heart the super soul. When we see in everyone's heart the presence of the super soul, we would never hate any person. We don't see on the bodily platform. Now, this is the problem in the material world. There are different country people like Ukraine, like now we see Ukraine, Russia, okay, India, China. We see on the bodily platform. When we start seeing the presence of the super soul in every living being, that is what we does not degrade ourselves by a destructive mentality. The moment we see, like, no, it's common. Oh, let us shoot. This is somebody. This is not from our nation, right? Then shoot. That is the destructive mentality. That's how Krishna says one should not degrade himself with the mind. Therefore, he gradually advances to the spiritual world. Yeah, please continue the last sentence.
The mind is generally addicted to sense gratifying processes. But when the mind turns to the super soul, one becomes advanced in spiritual understanding.
Okay. So the main take-home message is we should not degrade ourselves with the help of the mind. Okay. So text number 30. I hope until now it is clear for everyone. Text number 30. Sorry. प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति. Again, पश्यति. See, please continue.
One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees.
Who is the actual seer? That means everything is performed by the body, which is a product of material nature, and the soul does nothing. In fact, the same thing where Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, which you have studied in the previous chapter, the soul does not do anything except one thing. The soul does not do anything. In which chapter?
Second chapter.
Shubham Prabhu, yes.
Mataji, is it 3.27 Prakriti Kriyamani Gune Karmani Sarvasha?
That soul think that I am the reason for everything. I am the karta. Prakriti Kriyamanani Gune Karvani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudatma. Kartaham. He thinks that I am the doer. But actually, who is doing?
The three modes of material nature.
Three modes of material nature. It says that he does not create any activities. The soul does not do anything. He does not create any fruit of action. Da 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 da. Okay, 5.14. Chapter 5, text number 14. That the soul is actually one thing that is identifies itself with the body. Still, the supreme, the soul self does nothing. So one who understands this is the actual seer. Yeah, please continue.
Practically
The
speaking,
highlighted part.
Practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Because of desire, one is put into difficult circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. One who has such a vision is an actual seer.
Very important that person will actually see himself different from the bodily activities. In fact, the same thing is also there in the 5th chapter, that the body is doing whatever it has to do, but I am aloof from the body. That's a very nice verse in the 5th chapter. 5th chapter. I'm just, I forgot the number. I'm just searching for the number. Yeah, 27, 28. That all the external objects, internal organs, it's all doing its function, but I am aloof from it. So who has such a vision is an actual seer. Of course, when developed, how it will be developed? By hearing from authorities. Yeah, we'll move to text number 31. Yeda bhuta pratak bhavam ekastam anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sambatyate tada. Please continue.
Translation. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception.
Yeah. Again, Brahman conception means spiritual vision, nothing to do with Brahma Jyoti. He attains spiritual vision. What he sees, he identifies each body. He stops actually seeing from the external body. That is what ceases means. He stops seeing the different identity of the material body. Okay, he's American, he's Russian. Like, he stops seeing with that identity. He also see how there are so many living beings expanded everywhere, and the spirit soul is actually in every living entity, the super soul. So that is the spiritual vision. Yeah, please read the purport also for a better understanding.
When one can see that the various bodies of living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees. In the material conception of life, we find someone a demigod, someone a human being, a dog, a cat, etc. This is material vision, not actual vision. This material differentiation is due to a material conception of life. After the destruction of the material body, the spirit soul is one. The spirit soul, due to contact with the material nature, gets different types of bodies. When one can see this, he attains spiritual vision. Thus, being freed from the differentiations like man, animal, big, low, etc., one becomes purified in his consciousness and able to develop Krishna consciousness in his spiritual identity. How he then sees things will be explained in the next verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How he then sees things. So we need to have Krishna is saying that we need to have a Brahman conception, means the spiritual point of view one should see. One should have a spiritual vision. How he sees things. Anaditva nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate.
Hare Krishna. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled.
They don't see from the external point of view, means they don't see the external body, They see the spirit soul, which is eternal beyond the three moons. That's how they see. Okay, text number 33. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyat akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tatatma nopalipyate. Here Krishna gives an analogy in the in the verse itself. Please continue.
The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman's vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body.
So how the sky, which is all-pervading, does not mix with anything. Similarly, even though the soul is present within the body, the soul does not mix with the body. So in fact, there is an analogy. Please read that analogy, the first statement of Prabhupada, until subtle nature. Can you read it?
The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature.
So, Prabhupada is saying, with material eyes, we cannot see how the living entity is in contact with the body. And Prabhupada says, when science, no one in science can ascertain this. Okay, text number 34. Again, one more analogy. Yatha prakashayati eka krishnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha krishnam prakashayati bharata.
O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness.
How? Because of the presence of the soul, there is an existence of the consciousness. It compares with the sun. As the sun illuminates the entire universe, because for one universe, there is only one sun. So same way, the living entity, in fact, is spread throughout the body through the consciousness. Okay. Prabhupada speaks about the consciousness here, the individual consciousness. A very straightforward purport. You can, I mean, I hope that you must have read. Okay. Yeah, the last. Yes, Jyoti.
Mataji, I had one question. Like the soul, like regarding the form of the soul. Like if we want to imagine the soul, like form of the soul, like how should we imagine as how the soul will look like?
The soul is also Satchidananda Vigraha, right?
Yeah.
That's the vision. The Lord is also having Satchidananda Vigraha. The Jiva is also having the Satchidananda Vigraha. But what is the difference?
Like we become in contact with the material nature and comes.
Yeah, that's okay. But what is the difference within that? Both of them have the same spiritual nature, Chid, Ananda and Vigraha. They have a form, our body is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. But again, what is the difference between the Lord Satchidananda form and the Jiva Satchidananda form?
Like this, what I understand, like the Lord is he's omnipresent and he's present everywhere. We cannot compare it to the Lord, like whatever features he has.
Okay. Somebody else? Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, the quantity of these three elements.
Yeah. Qualitatively, we are
same.
We are same. The Lord is also having Satchidananda. We also have Satchidananda. Qualitatively, we are same. Quantitatively, we are different. So, is it clear, Jyoti?
Actually, Mataji, my question was like, we know how we see, like we read how Krishna looks like.
Okay.
So, how should we imagine how the soul looks like? Like, what will be the appearance of the soul?
That is what I said. Same, like we now. Right now, the body is made up of
24 elements.
Okay. But in the spiritual world, is there existence of 24 elements?
No.
No. So we'll have a transcendental body. Same bodily features are going to be the same, right? We are meant to play with the Lord. We are meant to dance with the Lord. We are meant to serve the Lord according to whatever relationship we have with the Lord. Accordingly, we get our features. It's not necessary that's the same for everyone. Depends on what kind of relationship we want to have with the Supreme Lord, right? Right now, we don't know our identity. So is it clear? We'll have a transcendental body. According to whatever relationship we have with the Lord, it could be a female form, it could be a male form, it could be a tree form, it could be a bird form, it could be a flower, it could be a cow. We don't know exactly.
Thank you.
So you got your answer fully convinced,
yes,
or like still
actually,
like this?
I understood that when we go there, we will have a transcendental form, and that form will be decided by our relationship there.
Yes.
But when we are present in the material world, in the material body, so if we want to imagine the form of a soul, like inside
okay. So don't do this speculation. Right now, we are supposed to focus on our devotional service. Only in higher stages we will come to know. Right now, I am at least struggling in Anartha Nivrit.
Then I am Mataji, everybody.
Okay. And in fact, first of all, you have to start the process of Bhajana Kriya. What you're supposed to do in Bhajana Kriya?
Like to Mangalarti first. Mangalarti, we need to sing Mangalarti, and then we need to.
Anybody else? Anybody else? What is the first step in? Yes, Karunamai Chitralekha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam. Taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and serving
taking
him.
Shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and
taking instructions from him and serving him.
Yeah, that means receiving initiation. That's the first thing in Bhajana Kriya. Okay. Yes, I have 2-3 hands. Yes, Vishaka, you have anything to say, to add?
No, Mataji, I have a question.
Okay. Yes, please.
In text number 32, Krishna said that the soul neither does anything nor is entangled.
Yes.
But in the previous chapter, I don't remember the verse, but we got that the soul desires, that's why we are here now. So he does something, the soul does something. And the second point, nor it is entangled, but the soul in the material nature is entangled in the 3 modes of material nature.
Yeah. See, again, the point here is what Krishna is trying to say. The soul does not go through any punishment. Right? The soul does not go through any punishment or whatever it is. Which is getting the punishment?
But in the yatna,
whatever.
But in the yatna sharir, that is comprised of the subtle body and the soul. The soul also gets punished.
Subtle body and the gross body. The soul doesn't get punished. Please understand. Which is getting the punishment?
Only the body gets the punishment.
Yeah. In the hellish planet, one gets a particular type of a body so that it will go through punishment. In the hellish planets, we cannot go with this gross body, because with the gross body, actually one of the punishment is they put us in hot boiling oil. With its gross body, if they put one time into hot boiling oil, we immediately die. But in the hellish planets, we are already died. We get a body. Yeah, we get a body according to, like, suitable to that planet, so that we can receive that punishment. So the soul is actually identifying itself with the body. That's it. When the body receives punishment, we think that we are getting the punishment.
Oh, okay, Mataji, got this.
Yes, Vaibhavi Tiwari, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, my question is that it is written here, although situated in the heart of the soul is situated in the heart of the body, is eliminating whole body by consciousness. So suppose if
You are in
person is
text number 34, right?
yes, Mataji. So
Okay.
suppose if a person is going through a heart transplant, where does the soul reside?
That's commonly people are asking. Can we see the soul first of all? With our blunt material eyes?
No.
No. Even when heart transplantation done also, consciousness is going to be there only, but we can't see it.
But Mataji, it is written that the soul resides in the heart.
Yeah, it's just reside like that. Doesn't mean like that is like literally like, yeah, it is there, but doesn't mean that, oh, now abhi to heart transplantation ho raha hai, so I have to move a little bit. It's not like that. We can't see actually. The proper is writing, yes, it is in the, I'm just searching for the sentence.
Mataji, it's in the 4th line.
Yeah. As the sun is situated in one place, illuminating the whole universe, all is situated in the heart of the body, illuminating the whole body of. Actually, many people have asked this question. It's not Vaibhavi is the first person to ask this question.
Actually, I've been asked this question.
So many have asked this question. Oh, it is actually scattered throughout the body. Of course, it's there. Proper setting is situated. In fact, the soul presence is even Prabhupada mentions in the 2nd chapter also that, the science have accepted red blood corpuscles, but it has not accepted the presence of the soul, which is actually spread throughout the body in the form of consciousness.
But Mataji, isn't it contradictory that it is written here that the soul resides in the heart? But,
yeah, it's not.
But when we come to science, and while transplanting, where does the soul go?
It is not going anywhere. If he has to go, then what will happen to the body? Can you say?
But the person's heart is being replaced.
Yeah, replaced doesn't mean that the conscious is also replaced.
So
it's
so
there.
The soul is in the form of consciousness.
Consciousness, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. The soul is spread throughout the body through the consciousness. In fact, I have written something on it. I have to actually search 2 answers. One is for this, something I found out, and actually I told my students that one. And then regarding Pandit Prabhu asked the first day, how the Lord is enjoying through Annamaya and Pranamaya. I couldn't find it. I had to find out both. I will tell you some more, like how I found out the answer today. Sleeping wife and active wife, right? So I'll try and search in my notes. Somewhere I would have written.
Okay, Mary, thank you so much.
Something convincing, I will come and share with you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mataji.
Right now, I could say this, but I know many have. You are not the first person to ask this. So many have asked. Let me find out any example. I would have definitely written it down, like just how I came to know between sleeping wife and active wife.
Sure, Mataji, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, Rukmini, Hari Sevini, you want to add something for this Vaibhavi's question?
No, Mother. I request you to please help me to understand one thing. If I am not suffering, if soul is not suffering, I'm soul, I'm not suffering.
No. My suffering, when my body is suffering, the soul, what he thinks?
That I'm suffering. The soul is suffering.
Yes.
But
because the misidentification with the body.
Mother, what about the feeling part?
Feeling part, who is feeling?
Mind, thinking, feeling.
Who are we?
I am soul.
But we are identifying with what and what?
Okay, Mother, yes, okay. And does it mean like if if one comes to the transcendental state, at that stage, the person is getting the suffering, because that person has already surpassed that stage, because he first of all Krishna consciousness and self consciousness, in soul consciousness. So he anyways he is Krishna consciousness or self realized, so he knows that he is a soul. So it means that that person is getting suffering, but he is not getting suffered. So does it
Yeah,
mean that
exactly. So then what he will say, my body is suffering, I am not suffering. Like okay, I think many have got this. Sometimes people ask this question to His Holiness Jai Taksoi Maharaj, no, regarding him, like regarding his well-being. He says that I am fully enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. Only my body is suffering. Can you understand from his reply? Anyway, it is far beyond my conception at least, but this is the reply he has given.
yes, theoretically I understand, I don't have any realization, but
Even I can't say that. I can't say that. I'm not in that platform.
So, but that if I'm getting headache,
yeah, just the same thing. That is what it is written in 5.27 and 28. Just you can refer to 5.20 later 5.27 and 28. Okay. So just a minute. I will conclude this so that I will start 14. I'll come back to your question later. Is it okay? Rukmini Hari Severi, for abruptly stopping you. I will come back to you. Again, we have time. We'll make time for this. We will come back. Okay. Now Krishna is concluding this chapter. Kshetra kshetrajnayor evam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha ye vidur yanti te param. Please read the translation.
Those who sees with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attains to the supreme goal.
So with the eyes of knowledge, we should know the difference between body and the knower of the body. That is Kshetra and Kshetrajna. And what is the ultimate, wait a minute. And what is the process of liberation mentioned in this particular chapter? What is the process of liberation which was mentioned in this chapter?
Knowing the 20 elements.
Yeah, 20 elements is a process for liberation. When one process properly, when one follows the 20 elements, then one can go to the supreme destination. Simple and straightforward. And yes, I want whoever read, Shubham Prabhu, please read the second paragraph, very important. Prabhupada speaks so many things in this purport. Yeah, go ahead.
A faithful person should at first have some good association to hear of God, and thus gradually become enlightened. If one accepts a spiritual master, one can learn to distinguish between matter and spirit, and that becomes the stepping stones for further spiritual realization.
Okay, four things are mentioned in this. Until a faithful person, until realization, four things Prabhupada mentions. Can someone say it?
Mataji, first of all, he should be faithful.
Huh?
Then he should have a good association.
What is that in Sanskrit? Faith in Sanskrit?
Shraddha.
Association in Sanskrit?
Sadhusanga.
Then comes accepting a spiritual master?
Bhajan Kriya.
Yeah, that's what. Proper, that's what it says. Okay, continue, please.
If one accepts spiritual master, one can learn to distinguish between matter and spirit, and that becomes the stepping stone for the further spiritual realization. A spiritual master, by various instruction, teaches his student to get free from material conception of life. For instance, in Bhagavad Gita, we find Krishna instructing Arjuna to free him from materialistic considerations.
Okay, that's it. Very important. So the solution in this particular chapter is hearing from bona fide authorities. And how it starts? Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. In Bhajana Kriya, we accept a spiritual master. And Prabhupada says by his various instruction, teaches his students to get free from the material concept of life. So we need to hear from the spiritual master. Again, how to read this chapter, right? Yeah, please read from this material world in this particular purport. This material world is working.
This material world.
Yeah, continue.
This material world is working by the conjunction of the soul and the 24 material elements. One who sees the constitution of the whole material manifestation as the combination of the soul and material elements, and can also see the situation of the supreme soul, becomes eligible for transfer to the spiritual world. These things are meant for contemplation and for realization, and one should have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of the spiritual master.
Yeah. So we discussed that hearing from a bona fide authority is a solution, and how to understand this chapter with the help of the spiritual master. Of course, our prime Siksha Guru, spiritual master, is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We're trying to understand this chapter with his help. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports, the 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of nature, the enjoyer and consciousness. So I'll take just 5 minutes. Arjuna asked these questions, 6 questions, because there is a misconception in understanding these 6 questions. That is the reason why he asked these 6 questions. And also until 12, 7 to 12 especially, and also in the beginning section also, Krishna spoke on many times he established the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga in the first 6 chapters. We discussed 3.9, 4.9, 5.29, and 6.47, and 7 to 12 full and full devotional service. So, yeah, Krishna said devotional service, pure devotional service. So, is Upanishad is also speaking the same thing. Arjuna wanted to confirm this from Krishna himself. That is why in Upanishadic style, he asked these 6 questions. And that's how the 13th chapter started. And now we understand clearly that Prakriti is not for my enjoyment. Prakriti is meant to serve the Supreme Lord. Then we are not the body. Kshetragna, we are not the only knower. There is a super knower, which is Krishna. Purusha, we are tiny Purusha. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Purusha. Jnana, we discussed the real jnana is the 20 elements, and the jnaya, the object of knowledge, is the soul and the super soul. This is the conclusion of this chapter. How to understand this chapter with the help of the spiritual master. What is the solution given in this chapter? Hearing from bona fide authorities. So I need to answer regarding the suffering. I have a headache. That's how Rukmini Harisevini started. And also regarding the consciousness, what I have written, I'll come back to you tomorrow. So is everyone happy, satisfied? Can we go to the next chapter, which is chapter 14?
Yes,
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, is everyone satisfied? Okay. Dissatisfied?
No, Mataji.
Okay. So what is the link for this chapter? I mentioned in 13th chapter, what is the link for the next chapter?
Verse number 22.
Verse number 22. So this is the link. It takes us to the next chapter, which is 3 modes of material nature. Because everyone in this material world is actually working due to the pushings of 3 modes of material nature. What Krishna says in the 3rd chapter regarding the 3 modes? Someone said that verse actually sometime before. Yes, Rukmini Harisevini.
Prakriti Kriyamana.
Prakriti Kriyamanani. Like I did it, I achieved it. I know I worked very, I did so much of hard work to get into IIT. It is because of my hard work, I was able to achieve this. He or she is pushed by what mode? What mode?
Mode of passion.
Mode of
passion.
Mode of passion.
Yes, this is what The three modes of material nature is making us do. Whichever mode is predominant. Even if a person is doing nothing and simply sleeping, which mode is pushing him?
Ignorance.
Mode of ignorance.
So there is no activity that without the three modes of material nature we can do. So we cannot say that I am liberated, I want independence, women independence, that independence, this independence, so many. We can't escape from the three modes of material nature. Of course, Krishna said, Davihi Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Dhuratyaya Mamevige Prapadyante, Maya Metam Taradite. That's the principle. We will see the detail in this particular chapter. Okay, let's start. Let's get into this chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Param Bhuya Pravakshyami Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam Yajnatva Munaya Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gataha. Yeah, please read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection."
So, in what sense is actually supreme wisdom? It's actually related to the three modes and how the three modes are actually binding the jiva. In that sense, Krishna is actually glorifying this knowledge. The first verse is actually glorifying this knowledge. This is the best knowledge in terms of Prakriti and Jiva. That's what I said, material modes and the living entity. So in that sense, this is the best knowledge. Bhuyaha means I'm again repeating this knowledge. So in that sense, this is the best of all knowledge and Krishna glorifies this knowledge. Yes, something I have highlighted here. I don't remember exactly. Somewhere Prabhupada says about, yes, I got it. Yes. Please read from the beginning of the purport until devotional service. Can you please read?
Okay. From the 7th chapter to the end of 12th chapter, Sri Krishna in detail reveals the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now the Lord himself will further enlightening Arjuna. If one understands this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service.
Yeah, this until now. So generally, philosophical speculation, Prabhupada never encourages. Because with we do our philosophical speculation with the help of the mind. If we are not the mind, what can we understand? If we have with our imperfect senses, what can we understand? We cannot understand anything. So, philosophical speculation refers here hearing from bona fide authorities. And what I have here, I'm introspecting and using my intelligence to understand what I have here. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, actually how I got this, Srila Prabhupada has referred this in a letter. What does it mean by philosophical speculation? So from there, I'm authentically saying that that is a philosophical speculation. Generally, Prabhupada never encourages philosophical speculation. So this is the right understanding. What we have heard from bona fide authorities, we use our intelligence, we introspect and to understand, try to understand what has been here. So this is Prabhupada clarifying in a letter. So in this chapter, what we will see, how the three modes of, what are the three modes? Of course, we know goodness, passion, and ignorance, but Krishna again, he will say that what are the three modes and how they are act, how they bind, and how they give a, how can we liberate from the three modes? That also Krishna will explain in this chapter. Of course, in the previous, the 13.32, we discussed how when we get associated with the three modes of material nature, we meet different, we meet good and evil among various species. So how to liberate from the three modes, that also Krishna will explain in this chapter. Okay, so in that sense, this knowledge is for supreme. Text number 2. Idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharmyam agataha sarge pinopajayante pralayena vyatanti cha. Sorry. Yeah, please
Hare Krishna,
continue.
Abhi. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the same time, at the time of creation, or disturbed at the time of dissolution.
So we have to become fixed in this knowledge so that we'll be fixed in the process of devotional service. By becoming fixed, we will go to the transcendental nature like my own. Like whenever Krishna says this, who actually misinterprets this?
Mayavadis.
Mayavadis. Nature like my own. We also get Sachidananda form, right? Like the Lord. That's the exact sense. Of course, we discussed the difference. So thus established, thus having gone to the spiritual world, we need not be born again and go through creation and get disturbed at the time of annihilation. And also it is said that we attain this knowledge by worshipping the spiritual master, worshipping the feet of our spiritual master. Every day we are worshipping Shri Guru Charana Padma, the lotus feet of the spiritual master is the abode of pure devotional service. I bow down to those lotus feet with great care and attention. It is by the grace of the spiritual master that we cross over this mental existence and obtain Krishna. So we attain this knowledge by worshipping the feet of the spiritual master. That's also one more thing. So by become fixed in this knowledge, we know that it's actually the three modes are only acting. I am not acting. And what is the way to overcome the three modes? Pure devotional service. That is what becoming fixed in this knowledge. I become fixed in the practice of pure devotional service by getting to know this knowledge. So then we will become liberated. So thus, being liberated, we will not be born and get disturbed at the time of annihilation. Very simple, straightforward translation. Please read.
Generally, in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Knowledge which is not contaminated by the three modes of material nature is called transcendental knowledge. As soon as one is situated in the transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform as the Supreme Person.
Okay, any example for the knowledge contaminated by three modes of material nature? Please give examples. The knowledge contaminated by three modes. Yes, Rukmini Harisevini.
Upanishads are in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Can it be the example?
No, Puranas are there. Puranas are more, not Upanishads. Puranas are in mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay. Apart from it, I'm looking for something interesting. Knowledge contaminated by three modes of material nature. Examples.
Scientific work done, scientific theories.
Okay.
Research work it does.
Okay. More. Yes, Rukmini Harisevin, you want to add something?
Yes, like Buddhism, they don't believe in the Vedas.
Okay.
So they just manipulate.
Okay, that knowledge is it's in more okay for some extent, but yes, Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, knowledge regarding like how we can like create soft mattresses so we can sleep well.
Okay, that's knowledge that is in the mode of ignorance. Okay. Jyoti. Yeah, yes, Prabhu, right. Shubham Prabhu, right. Yes.
Mataji, like how we are taught that sense gratification in everything is the perfection of life in material world. So every all sort of sense gratification are in some modes.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to give a good news. All your material studies are contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Let it be dentist, let it be microbiology, let it be IIT, let it be whatever, BE, MBBS, MD, anesthetist, dermatologist, ophthalmologist, pediatrician, everything is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Why? Why? Yes, Pandit Prabhuji. Let's hear from Pandit Ji.
Mataji, because they deviate us from the spiritual realization and moves us away from Krishna.
Okay. Okay. What else? Something. Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, this knowledge will ultimately entangle us back into this material world only.
Okay. Very good.
And it will help us in forgetting who we really are.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yes, Jyoti.
Mataji, like they are aimed at treating the material body with a particular perspective only. Like
Yes.
if suppose if anybody has a mental illness, they will treat just the mental illness, not the cause. And if they are suffering from any medical illness like weakness of any any weakness in the eyes, then they will just teach, but they will not exactly teach us how to see and what to see.
Okay, good point. Yes, Vaibhavi, you want to add something?
Actually, the only purpose of this knowledge is to satisfy our senses.
Yes, satisfy our senses. Okay. Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, this knowledge is ultimately only sticking to only these four principles: eating, meeting, sleeping, and meeting. That's it.
Yes, that's it. All answers are valid. If we say, I just give an example. Dental. Okay, dental science. The body is made up of 24 elements. Within the body, there is tooth. And what are the defects or problems, and one is finding out and trying to know how one can cure. So again and again, it's related to the body, which is made up of 24 elements. Any education which is dealing with the 24 elements is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. By studying MBBS, so far I have not heard that a person got transcendental knowledge. Only by studying Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, one can overcome the three modes of material nature. So, knowledge is contaminated. That is why Ishopanishad calls that knowledge as avidya. It is not vidya. It is avidya. That avidya is required only to maintain the body and soul together. That's it. Yeah. So only with the help of transcendental knowledge, we can go beyond the dreams. Okay. It's not shocking for you. Nobody got heart attack, right? Text number 3. I assume so. Mamayonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dhadamyaham sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. Yes, please continue.
The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Here, material nature is addressed as Brahman. In that, it is that Brahman that I impregnate. So the material, the Mahatattva, is actually called as Brahman. The living entity is also called Brahman. The three modes is also sometimes called Brahman. The Brahmajyoti is also sometimes called Brahman. The absolute truth is also sometimes called as Brahman. So how the creation takes place? Krishna starts with creation. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth. From Mahatattva only, everything gets birth. And he impregnates with all living entities. And that's how the living entities are born. Please continue.
This is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya, the body and the spirit soul.
So how this is combined? This is combined by the Supreme Lord himself, in which the three modes of material nature are there. According to the desires, the Lord impregnates into different species. Yeah, please continue.
into material nature, the superior nature is mixed by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thereafter all living entities are born of this material nature.
Yeah, so it looks like we are born from the material nature, but we are not born from the material nature. What is an analogy? Please read the underlined part.
The scorpion lays its eggs in the piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice, but the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as products of material nature.
So in this analogy, which is very straightforward, that it looks like since we're coming out of the material nature, it looks like we are actually born of this material nature, but actually how the scorpion had already laid the eggs. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead have impregnated different species into material nature according to their desires due to the past activities. Accordingly, we enjoy or suffer due to our past deeds. Yeah, one more very important verse. We'll just read until 9. Let's see how much we can cover. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti ya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. Please continue quick. Hare Krishna.
Translation: It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
So Krishna is the father of all species, and he is the seed-giving father. Okay. With this, whom we can convince with this translation that Krishna is the seed-giving father? With this Bhagavad Gita shloka, who can we convince? Raise your hand and please say. Yes, Jyoti.
Mataji, Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, they all don't believe in this.
Don't believe in what?
Means they don't believe that Krishna is the original father.
Okay, original creator. Okay, Krishna is okay. Something else. Yes, Pandit Prabhu.
Mataji, atheist people?
Atheist. Okay. Yes, Vaibhavi.
Those who do declare the position of Supreme Personality of God.
Impersonalists.
Okay, Daya.
Impersonal. Same.
Everyone is saying impersonalist. Why impersonalist? Suddenly, that seed-giving father, he is a person. Okay, kind of okay. But somebody we have to convince.
Brahmajyoti, believers of Brahmajyoti.
It's okay. Yes, Karunamai Chitralekha. Let us see what she says.
Mataji, the demigod worshippers.
Who else? You have to convince someone when we are preaching Krishna consciousness. That is their problem for taking up Krishna consciousness. With this translation, we can actually convince them. Okay, so many people contributed. Okay, you have a different perspective that you are saying that with impersonalist, we can say that he is the seed-giving father means there is a person. Okay. Meat eaters. Because meat eaters have to understand that Krishna is the seed-giving father for all species. Like Prabhupada gives an example. The father has 4 children and 3 children are better, and the last son or daughter is actually mentally challenged, physically challenged. If the other 3 children, they goes and tells the father that we want to kill this last son of yours because he's dumb and deaf. Which father will agree? Any father will agree?
No.
No.
Same way that Krishna says that he is the father of all species. He is saying that he is the seed-giving father. So we don't have any right to kill our own brothers and sisters. Because originally our eternal father is the Supreme Lord, eternal mother is Srimati Radharani. So this is the verse. Because of this, many people are actually like this, but it's an obstacle for them. So this is like with this conviction that yes, Krishna says that he is the seed-giving father. Okay, we'll stop here. We have to deal with this purport, and we will have a group work in this chapter. So what will I do? As in the first class we did, I'll post the question to, I'm supposed to post it to Rukmini Harisevini, right? You, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll post a question to you tomorrow. So accordingly, we will have group work tomorrow. Okay, so its time is 9. So we will close here. Granth Raj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhakti Shastri, what institute you are, sis? Rohini Institute, right?
It's ISKCON DIHE, ISKCON Delhi Institute for Higher
Delhi
Education.
Institute. Okay, DIHE ki jai. Okay, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namah. Okay. See
Hare
you
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
tomorrow.
Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Murari.
Pranam to all devotees.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. See you tomorrow.